Hey everyone, and welcome back to this episode of Building with Noodle or Code Crusher with me, Simple Rick, Richard Osborne. And today we're going to look at continuing what we started in the previous video. We're going to keep on building our I Feel Good app, which is my app concept. If you missed the last time, it's a proof of concept for a client that I'm hoping to convince them to use to replace their current method of onboarding clients into their nutritionist coaching business. So I'm hoping we can create a really nice form that we can use to fill out. Let me get this in. Hoping we can fill out a really nice form that we can use in the app to provide specific tasks that are going to appear in the dashboard for the user. So let's just jump right in and keep going where we left off last time. Last time we created our backend. It's not activated because Docker's not up. Don't forget to start your Docker before you start messing around with your app, or else it won't work. So I've got my Docker up, and you can see the backend is auto starting because it was already running when I closed it down last time. But if it's not, you can just click start, and it'll start the backend up. Double check that is working by going to your open dashboard. There it is, all good. So we're going to need to clean up this front page. We'll start with getting the dashboard page cleaned up and sort of ready for a task list and a mobile format. And then we'll think about how to do the onboarding part, which is where the form is going to be. So we're going to have a form in the onboarding page, and then we're going to have like a task list in this page. So we can delete all this stuff here. Maybe the email verified thing, I'll leave it for the moment. Header navbar we don't need. Maybe we do need it, but we need to modify it. Main container we need, but we're going to remove all this stuff because we don't need these examples from the Noodle starter template, which is what I'm using. Let's go into the navbar. We can remove probably remove the logo. I think for a mobile app, I'm not really going to bother having a logo. We're going to call this just provisionally, we'll call it I Feel Good in place of getting a logo in there. And then we don't need any sub pages, and the profile button would be good, but that should be over at the right side. There we go. And it should be center aligned. So let's add that. Input, no inputs. This is one that came pre-built with all of the stuff you're seeing has come pre-built with the template. I haven't the template. Same things. So let's put a line Y, and then that's going to connect up to the button. Yeah, it's a bit funny that a button has a. Okay, is it a group or a button? It's funny. Feels like that should be a group. Should be a line Y is going to be a line Y, and then that gives us the opportunity to align it, and it doesn't work. So that's fabulous. That's exactly what I wanted. Maybe we need to actually connect it up to the group. Nope. Okay, let's just manually try to do it and see what happens. So that doesn't work. That doesn't work. Drop down menu. Is it maybe because it's maybe thinks there's going to be something with margin? Maybe. But it is it's an absolute group, so it shouldn't. But maybe we'll take off this margin. See if that might help. If you hear any strange singing in the background, it's because I've got two little girls running around the house. My daughters. Let's do, something like that would probably help. All right, so we need it to be, it's a fixed height group. This is also a fixed height group. So how do I get it to say? I had this problem before. It drove me crazy. Yeah, the icon is bigger than the group. That's not probably what we want. Yeah, there we go. Something to do with that icon. Put that down like 48. Okay. What if we make the button max heights 100% height. Oh, because there's no height in the header. That's weird. Make it content height. No, make it higher. Let's make it 100. Just say make it 100 pixels and see if we can work with that. No, it's not going to work either. It's really making that spacing at the bottom. All right, that's driving me crazy. We're just going to go back to what it was before. Just leave it alone for now. We'll fix that later. Whatever. So that'll do for now. Okay, we've got a top bar. Not going to waste time on that. We're going to go back to the main container, and in the main container we're going to put a repeater, and the repeater is going to have the some task items. So we should make some sort of task stuff. Let's this is a nice little trick. We're going to make an array of empty objects. So we're just going to call this ID 2. So we'll like feed the repeater some random 2 objects. It means then when I do my task component, then which is going to be a checkbox, I guess. Maybe we might want to change it from the standard checkbox to something prettier. We'll see. And a text. So checkbox and the we'll make it content height. We'll make it horizontal, and we need a object that's going to go in there with the checked property and the text property. So connect up to this. Checked and text to text. Bingo. Oh, and of course the object is going to get its data from the repeater. So when the repeater items start going in, I just need to have a checked and a text. So I could put that in here just as a placeholder. So I'm just playing. So checked is true, and text is do some stuff, yo. And then this one is going to be checked as false, so we can see what it looks like. And eat some tasty food. And then we give it the template, which is the task. And there we go. Label, do some stuff, yo. How did that happen? Ah, because I've got the label turned on. Oops. Ding. There we go. And then make a bit of spacing in there. Too much spacing. And get the checkbox centered. Get the text centered. And we're good to go. Nice. So that's cool. All right. So that'll be something of a list, I guess. You know, we have to work out what it's going to look like a bit better, but that's a good start. So that'll be what the main page looks like, and then when we tick and untick things, we need that to react by shooting confetti on the screen or something like that. And then of course, when it's checked, it needs to change the object from checked to unchecked, or the record. In this case, we needed to do it in the database. So let's do that and create some dummy data just so we get a little bit further. So we're going to create a class. Let me check my plan. I had a class called tasks and task list. So these are the two we need to make. We want to make tasks, it's the individual task, and then task list is one person's collection of tasks for a particular day. So let's do, or should we? Yeah, we're going to do that because I want to, so whether I'm probably going to have a database full of like global tasks, master tasks. So I could just show them a list of tasks and say, okay, do these tasks. But what I want then is to save and to record which tasks they actually did and which tasks they didn't do. So I would actually like to make duplicate clones of the original master task. So maybe we can make a field called master Boolean whether or not this task is a master task or a clone of a master task added to a task list of a user. So yeah, that makes sense to me. Let's do it. So we're going to make a custom class. We don't need to worry about all these other cool parse things. All of our classes are going to be custom. And decide if you want to use capitals or not. I use capitals for creating databases. Some people would, or for classes, some people would say you shouldn't. Use underscores and stuff, whatever. So we'll create that, add some columns. We're going to need a label column, description column first. And a description. We're going to need, oh, where did it go? We're going to need an objectives column. And the objectives are going to be an array of objectives. I like to make array columns with an empty array by default, just because it's easier for the system to understand it and easier for you as a developer to work with that. And programs. Yes, we are going to have programs probably as well. So let's do programs just in case. It's going to be the task is linked to the objectives that the person has selected. So if you've selected you want to lose weight, then there'll be certain tasks that will be in the array. You'll see the lose weight objective. And so that's where I'm going with that. And the programs are like, there's a sports program for people who want to do like exercise and like sports activities. And then there's like a Zen program or whatever, where you just want to, or like an eating program where you just want to eat better and you're not necessarily concerned about doing sporting activities. So there'll be certain tasks that are more fit or not to certain programs. And then if it's a master task or not is a Boolean field, where is it? Right at the top. By default, it's going to be false, and we will add that, and that's it. So we've got our task class set up, all the fields along the top. No security for the moment. I'm not going to deal with class level permissions and stuff like that for the moment. Just stick with simple stuff for now. We'll dive into ACL in maybe another session, but right now I just want to get it set up and working. So then task list also needs to be here, so I can load up whatever their task list is for the day. So let's go create a class, custom task list. Task list is going to have the date, an array of tasks, the status. Oh, maybe I should have done a pointer here pointing to the task list that the task is a member of, shouldn't I have? Yeah. Anyway, let's do it. And we'll do date first. So the date that they're supposed to do it. We'll do these first and then I'll think about tasks. The status and the points that they've got. So status is a string and points is a number, an integer. Points. Confusing myself. Alrighty, so tasks. So now we need to know, how do we call a task list that belongs to a certain person? Which probably we need to actually write owner, don't we? Add a column. We need to point to the user who is the owner of this list. And then we need a way to say, okay, I am me, I'm Richard, so call the task list that points to me on this particular day, or create one if one doesn't exist, and then associate a bunch of tasks with that, run a loop and create a bunch of tasks, 5 tasks for the day, and attribute them to me and attribute them to this list. So then I can say, give me the 5 tasks, query the tasks where the task list equals this list. So let's do a pointer in the task table. We're going to point to the task list that this belongs to task list. That's good. And then do we need in the task list to have a list of tasks? I actually don't think we do. I don't think we do. Array of objects of type task. So do you have an array so that you can just quickly show the data, but then you have to keep that array up to date if you ever change the parent task? You change it from checked, from true to false checked. Oh, I don't actually have checked as a, that was stupid. So hang on, let's add a couple of things here. So we need to have belongs to task list, which is a pointer to task lists, shows which task list this cloned task belongs to. And then it's complete. Oh, we had status, didn't we, somewhere? No, status was here. So yeah, no, complete, checked, complete is a Boolean, whether or not the user has checked this task as complete. So forgot about a couple of things. Belongs to task list and complete. By default is false. And that's all. And in task list, did I want to add something else? No, we're good. So I'm going to call all the tasks. I'm going to find out if they're complete or not. Yeah, good. That should do it. Okay. Good. So we should probably create a dummy task list. So we'll add a row here. I'm going to call this date is today's date. Status is I can't remember what the status is. Complete, partial, not started. So let's say not started. Points 0. Owner is going to be me, but we don't need to add that just yet. So let's add that. We need to add a dummy user. Oh, we have a dummy user. Huh, I'm the dummy. Dummy. I added it yesterday. That's me. So go task list, owner, and then either you can paste in the object ID from the owner, from the user, or you can open the object by double clicking on the object ID, and then the owner field, you can actually select one. It's a really cool thing about parse. It goes to the pointed table, and you can then search, filter, and select the pointer that you want to add there. So that's really cool. I like doing that. Then tasks, same sort of thing. We can do, well, we'll add a couple of tasks anyway. So, and then I'll show you what we can do with that. So the label is going to be do some exercise, yo. And the description is going to be, you need to get out there and run. And the objectives, I have not figured that out yet, so we'll leave that for the moment. It's not a master task. It is belonging to task list. We're going to do that in the editor thing afterwards that I showed you, and it is not complete. Don't forget to click add, or else it'll disappear. And then we can go to belongs to task list, select, and then we choose our task list that we had there in the other task list class. That's already done. I'm just going to clone this so I don't have to bother my ass creating a whole bunch of them. So tick the one that you want to clone, edit, clone this row, and then I get another one. Exact same data, different object ID. So let's make this one into eat some healthy food. Yo. And the description is going to be eat some vegetables and whatnot, but not sugar stuff. Sugar. Not a master task, not complete. Belongs to task list, the same one. All good. Where is my water? Oh, that's better. Okay, so we don't need the dummy data we have in the repeater anymore, but we'll leave it there for the moment. What we want to do is do a query. We want to, I guess there's a couple of things we want to do. At the app level, I want to query what this person's task list is for today. So I want to query this person's date is equal to an input, and we're going to input today's date. So today is date. And then we're going to, which we could also do with a JavaScript filter, by the way, but I'd rather show the visual filters to get started. And I'm not very good at JavaScript, so I don't want to embarrass myself. So there's multi-layered reasons why I'm not doing it. And where the owner is equal to current user. To get the current user, we just drop a user node that goes and accesses the current user who's logged in, which I think I have not. No, I have not. Bish bash bosh, logged in. You can see all the user data from the database, and we're going to hook that up to the current user, and then we're going to ask Noodle AI output the current date in ISO format, please. Say please, just in case it's going to take over the world. Noodle AI might be the one, you never know. Yeah, that's good. That's good. That's good. It's looking good. Are we going to get today's date? Oh, not the current user. That's a bad connection. Today's date. And yeah, there we go. So now that's going to, okay, I've done something wrong here. So we want it to be, no, because it's not going to be equal exactly to that. Greater than or equal to. It's not going to be exactly that. We need to do something a little bit more funky there. We need to say, so if the list is created, it's going to be created at the 27th of June, 4 o'clock UTC, because it's 6 o'clock French time at the moment. So that means that if it's like today's date is like the 27th of June, 4:30 UTC, it's going to say, oh, it's not the same date. So I didn't think that through. That was silly. What we need is to do a little, we need to say that the date is going to be greater than the current date with changing hours to 0 and is less than the current date changing the hours to 23:59, so that it has to be within the current date 0 o'clock and 12 o'clock in the evening. Can you please change the function so that it outputs the current date and time, but changing the time to 0000 UTC, and another output that changes today's time to 23:59 UTC. I think this is a good idea. So delete this. Oh, sorry, don't delete this. We're going to make it less than or equal to today end, and we're going to make it greater than or equal to input today start. Let's have a look and see if it worked. Start of day UTC, today start, end of day UTC, today end. And look at that, 27:000 UTC, 27:23:59:59:999999 milliseconds UTC. So like that's as close as it's going to get. I love that simple, just simple Noodle AI. It just works every time. And there we go. Bing. There's our task list, which is, you see, like the date is 16:38. So if it hadn't been that exact time, it wouldn't have brought anything back from the query. So that is perfect. Hey, wait a second. Why is there only one? Hold on a gosh darn second. Oh, because it's the task list, not the tasks. Okay, so we're going to set that to a variable or an object. A variable. So we're going to call it today task list. We get the first item ID, because it'll only ever be one in theory. First record ID becomes the value of the variable today task list. So now everywhere in the app I can access that. Now that is only if there is a result. Now what if there's not a result? We need an expression that says task list count is greater than 0, or let's say equals 0. Let's just say what we want to do. We want it to be true, that it's equals 0. No, yes, no, yes, yes. So we're going to say when, so we don't want that just to run all the time. We're going to say if that count is 0 after the query has run successfully, then we run that expression and check the count that comes out. At the moment it's 1, so that's false. If it were true, we would need to create a new task list for this person. So they've just logged in, they haven't got their task for the day. It's the first time they've logged in today. We want to say on true do. Now, it pops to mind then that means that if you don't log into the app every day, you don't get your task lists. But I guess rather than sort of punishing people for not doing the tasks from yesterday and never logging in, probably I don't want to go down that road of like, oh, you've only had, I mean, I could probably calculate. I could probably say like, bring me back all the task list from this month. how many are there versus how many days there are in the month. Okay, so they did 10 task lists and it's the 20th day of the month, therefore they missed 10. So you could do that calculation if you want to give them that, but I don't really want to whip people with, oh, you haven't done enough. Like, no. So I'm not into that. So we're going to do every time that they log in, that's when we create the task list. Also, if the person only uses it once a month and I'm creating like 30 records for them every month, it means that I'm wasting data on users who are not paying. So that doesn't really make sense. So we're going to create a task list. We're going to make the owner the user. So there we go. The date of the task list is going to be the current date and time, which we can just take. Let's add it here, maybe. Current date equals new date. Let's add it here. Outputs current date equals current date. So take the current date over to here. That's the date when we create the task list. That looks good. Sort of. Not really. 2359. It's still 2359. Where's that? Current date. Because it's doing an operation on the current date. Got you. Okay, so do another one. Const output date equals new date. I don't know if that's probably a really inefficient way of doing it, but that's better. Yeah, so it was creating a date as current date, but then it was manipulating the date within the function. So by the time it gets out, it's already done the set UTC hours on it, so it doesn't work. Okay, so if there's no task, we create a task for this user, and the status is going to be not started. Points are going to be 0, and then we're going to create a bunch of tasks for this person. I'm going to create a bunch of tasks. So at this point, we need to think about how we find tasks that are relevant to this person's program and tasks that they haven't done before. So I think that's actually going to be a bigger job. But we've got some progress here so far. And in the end, let's just finish off. Well, we're going to put a little comment here. I like to put them in red when it's stuff I have to do. So it's like sticks out at you like, oh my God, I haven't done something. It's red. So you make your own conventions. So we need a looping. So we need a run task node. We'll find out what that is next time. Node that loops over a certain number of master tasks from the database that fit the user's objectives and program, and maybe ranked by how often the user has done them before, or something clever like if they've not completed the task before it gets priority. So imagine like you've been avoiding something like going jogging and you never tick it, and you tick everything else every day, and then that becomes the task that just never goes away until you tick it, and maybe it's like highlighted like you really need to do this, like you've been ignoring this, right? So anyway, let's finish our main page. So we don't need to query the records, and we do need to query the records. We need to query records of the task class where the belongs to task list equals today's task list value, and that is coming from our variable, which we set, which you now can see is in the name field, today's task list, which then goes in here. So no matter what happens, you're going to have either a task list that was already created and you're coming back and looking at it again, or it's a task list that's just been created because you've just opened the app, and that will feed this variable, which will make the query work, and will feed our tasks into our repeater. And then we have to have a look and see what the object looks like. So you can see that the task is different than the dummy data I put in there before. So it's complete instead of checked, and it's label instead of text. Bingo. So now when we check it, we want it to change that value in the database. So set record properties, task, and we're getting it from the repeater. And we're going to change, so checkbox changed is going to do it, and checked is going to be the value, complete. And so in theory then when we check each one of these, it's going to change complete to false. Okay, that didn't work. But it, oh, probably because this is an object. We haven't re-queried from the database. So there is a way to do it. We can set up records where it'll re-query this from the database. But if I refresh the page, in any case, it's going to re-query. And then complete still false. Oh, because, sorry. One thing to remember about this, notice that it's eat some healthy food, yo, that is being currently shown in the preview. When you're in a repeater, you have multiple items. Noodle shows you the last item in the list as an example. So it won't show me what's happened. It'll show me the things lighting up for the first activity, but the first task, but it won't show me the data from that first task. It'll only show me the data from the second task. But that's cool, that works. Because it's changing it in the cloud and locally. It's changing the database version and the object locally. So we don't have to change it in the database and then re-query that record. It'll change both the locally stored version and the cloud one. So they're both in sync and we do less queries, which is great. So that's it. So now we've got the first part done. We can actually check and uncheck tasks. And in the database, we'll see that has actually affected our data. If we refresh, then we'll see that one of them is complete, one of them's not complete. So cool, that's nice. We have some stuff left to do. Certainly the whole part about matching the tasks with people's objectives and their program that they've signed up to is going to be quite complicated. But I think that's cool. So far we've got our front page with a working task list where we can check and uncheck things. Pretty easy, I think you'll agree. So let's keep it going tomorrow or whenever I have time to record the next video, maybe not tomorrow. And I hope you guys enjoyed it and see you next time.